Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit under the weather, but the world rolls on and stories come, and regardless of if I feel well or not, we got things to talk about. And this one has sort of lifted my spirits a little bit. Here's the deal. Moist Critical and Asmongold and Hassan and Yong Yan, all of these YouTubers and streamers, they have been shitting on Twitter for the longest time. Now, to be fair, people like Moist Critical were shitting on Twitter even when it was a commie far left hellscape. But now that Elon Musk has taken over, it's sort of been this doom and gloom. Twitter is dead this time, guys. Just 2 more weeks, we promise. The Act Man or the Ant Man or whatever the hell his channel is, he did a video on that months and months ago, and they've been wrong every single time, like clockwork. Every time Moist Critical or one of these people comes out to say that Twitter is dead, you can pretty much put all your money into Twitter is not going to be dead. But we're talking about Twitter finally has competition. Now, what Moist Critical is talking about here is the ripoff, the pathetic, limited, just outright bootlegged version of Twitter known as Threads from Instagram. If you've signed up to this, and Moist Critical hasn't, he says he hasn't signed up, which understood. If he had, he would understand why Meta is in the process of now getting sued, because it is a ripoff of Twitter, not similar to Twitter. Like, it's kind of similar. No, it is a direct ripoff of Twitter. And so when you have something like this and you just basically steal it so that a bunch of celebrities can have a circle jerk on the platform without having to deal with the pores, really, it's pathetic. Now, I think that Elon Musk has made some missteps here and there, but I think Twitter overall is so much better than it was. It's ridiculous. Because the difference is that you can go on Twitter now and you can say something like there are only two genders and not get banned. Now, the fact that that's something that we have to even talk about is depressing. But on Threads, that statement will get you banned because it is a left-wing echo chamber that is designed to cull any sort of dissension from what is the mainstream celebrity, far left, regressive, self-worshipping cult narrative. You have to abide by all of the advertiser safe and government approved and media approved buzzwords and catchphrases, and if you don't, you're going to get censored, you're going to get banned. So this is not competition for Twitter. This is making a bootleg version, and it's going to fail flat on its face because the reality is that this is a poorly rolled out, poorly thought out idea that was just done to give these fucking celebrities and these pieces of shit a place to go and complain. Mark Cuban going on Threads and saying, well, this place is kind of nice without all these, basically saying without all these, poor people and all these degenerates, all these people with opinions that I don't like. How can we keep it like this? And, Mark Zuckerberg, it's like this fucking scab of a human being, this ridiculous, robotic, censor-prone lying. The guy is one of the biggest liars I've ever seen. He's somebody that has built a business around stealing people's data and selling it. And that's what Facebook is. That's all it is. Taking your data and selling it to companies. Holy shit. Excuse me. But Moist Critical has some things to say. He's got some opinions, and so we're going to we're gonna hear him out. And so, yeah, here we go.
Inspiring to see someone never give up in the face of adversity, to push forward and achieve great things, like Rocky or Will Smith in I, Robot, when he was telling people like, hey, these robots are a little fishy, and they said, hey pal, you're just blowing from stupid town, and then turns out he was right and he still protected us anyway. Point is, this is the backbone to so many of the best stories ever told in books, movies, TV shows, and anime. It's like one of the 10 commandments of anime for every protagonist, just that never quitting attitude. But in the real world, when companies in particular adopt this never give up mentality, it's pretty embarrassing and pathetic. In particular when it comes to Meta, or as you know them, Facebook, because nobody really knows this fucking clown company is anything other than Facebook. Meta's been on a bit of a cold streak recently, with the most recent embarrassing blunder being the Metaverse. More like Meta reimburse everyone who bought into that scam. Being sold as like the way of the future. Nowadays, it's just a barren, empty wasteland of broken dreams and broken promises. The goofballs just made a virtual reality experience more primitive than Roblox and Second Life. It's just shameful. But they didn't give up. They didn't quit. They said, you know what? That was so good, we're gonna do it a second time. What about second breakfast? So they're trying another venture here, and it's actually opening to pretty big success. And it's what we're talking about today.
Well, success is subjective. You have millions more people going to sign up. I guess that is a huge thing. However, there are already reports of censorship and people being banned for their speech and blocked and shadow banned. You know, all the same shit with Twitter. And on top of that, the features are incomplete. It was a rushed out product that is inferior to the current Twitter. And it's attached to your Instagram. So if you want to disable and delete your Thread account, you have to delete your Instagram account. No, this isn't a major success. It's a trend. You have a lot of celebrities, a lot of fucking rotten to the core celebrities. Ellen DeGenerate is popping off saying, "Wow, this is nice. Ah, this is gay Twitter." That's actually what she said about Thread, that it was gay Twitter, which is just, I mean, yeah, we can be pedophiles here. It's like, well, you know, you probably could. I mean, the only place that you couldn't really is Twitter these days. You know, holy shit. You know, all these places that are, it's so ridiculous to me that the left is so desperate to have an echo chamber without any dissenting opinion that they're willing to embrace just about anything. These fuckers went to Mastodon. Mastodon. That was a thing for a while. You remember Whoopi Goldberg? You remember Whoopi Goldberg? Whoopi, it's not rape Goldberg. Remember that? Remember her? Yeah, she was talking about Mastodon. They went to Mastodon, which is just a fucking degenerate hive of scum and fucking villainy. But, yeah, this isn't competition for Twitter. It's a poorly thought out, poorly rolled out, another abysmal failure for Meta. Because if they had rolled this thing out and it were new and innovative and interesting, and it was able to integrate a whole bunch of things and really took it to the next level and kind of put Twitter to shame and did all this stuff better, and wasn't really doing censorship that much, and you could sort of use block features a little bit better and navigate it yourself. If they had done that, that would be a true competition, and that would be good. This is not. This is not competition.
Threads, a Twitter competitor. Twitter's had its own series of missteps, quite a few blunders. They've given up Scholar's Mate a few times here, and it looks like Meta's trying to strike while the iron's hot, so they released their own Twitter competitor called Threads. When looking it up, I saw this headline: Meta's Twitter competitor for friendly conversation launches early. And this feels like the worst article ever written to promote something. Calling it a place for friendly conversation makes it sound like Weenie Hut Jr., where you're not allowed to go in there unless you're wearing elbow and knee pads.
That's exactly what it is. You see, but here's the thing. You'll be allowed to say certain things that are considered provocative to people like me who are more conservative. But you're not allowed to say things that are provocative to people on the left. That's what this is. They're creating another echo chamber that they can all go to and not have to deal with any of the pesky realities of life. This is basically an attempt to make an actual echo chamber. Instead of engaging on Twitter, they want to make this bubble. And it's frankly pretty pathetic.
Not that I like Twitter. I think, and I've been very vocal about this, I think Twitter fucking sucks. I don't think the world was ready for a platform like that, and it is just the absolute worst thing for a human being's mental health. And now, for the first time, we're being cursed with a platform that threatens Twitter's stranglehold on brain rot. This is like that scene out of Godzilla where he says, "Let them fight." We now have two kaijus going to war over poisoning.
I hate to tell you this, Charlie, but Twitter does not have a monopoly on brain rot. Brain rot can be found in many places. I would argue that Twitch is a huge, huge generator of brain rot. The fact that Hassan, and I mean this genuinely, the fact that Hassan is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch is one of the most embarrassing fucking things for the entirety of the human race that I've ever seen. You mean to tell me that of all the people that you could support and watch, you chose Hassan Piker? Really? Like, you can't even throw shade at Twitter at this point. Moist, you stream on Twitch that has as one of their most successful streamers Hassan Piker. I mean, that's pretty much like the instant checkmate, because Hassan is one of the most toxic. He's one of the most toxic people I've ever seen. He's genuinely one of the most stupid. Never have I heard an original, interesting, well put together idea from Hassan. It's usually the most bombastic, imbecilic, just regressive, tone deaf, brain dead, brain rotted thing that you could ever hope or not hope that a human being would say. It's always antagonistic, it's always vicious, it's always ignorant, it's always devoid of substance. So, no, I don't think that Twitter has a monopoly on this. In fact, I don't even think that Twitter has the title for the worst takes. There are other competitors. There's Reddit. I mean, you've got, I don't know if Discord would be in the running, but you've also got Facebook. I mean, don't leave out Facebook. They've got some real stinkers.
In your mind, basically. So you have Twitter, which is no stranger to horrible decisions, and now you have Meta with Threads, which is no stranger to horrible decisions. Obviously, Meta's mainly going to be using this for more data harvesting, I imagine, since that's kind of their bread and butter behind their business.
Hey, it's Will from Booker Law. If you have a big Steam library like I
business models, but this is a big deal because Twitter now has actual competition in the space. And it doesn't seem like they like this ball game very much, because apparently Twitter is threatening to sue Meta for Threads right now, saying that it stole their trade secrets. I don't know what Krabby Patty secret formula they think they cooked up there, but Twitter itself was already derivative of some of the old message boards from way back in the day. It just kind of became streamlined on Twitter, and everything just got so concentrated on the internet as a whole that everyone flocked to Twitter for the...
Literally word salad. That meant fucking nothing. Twitter has a copyright on their look, features, their layout, the way that everything sort of lays in the page. the technology for it. So if they believe that this obvious copy, which it is, by the way, critical, if you were to create a page, I think that almost immediately you'd realize how silly it is to say that they don't have a case here for that, because it's literally like a Control C, Control V situation, or Control X, Control V. It's literally a copy and paste. The website looks identical down to the look of the blue check marks. Everything is identical because that's the point. They literally just wanted to take Twitter and integrate it into their far left ecosystem. That's all they wanted to do. To cut out Elon Musk because he wasn't playing ball. And the irony of all this is that Zuckerberg is the one that allowed the FBI the back door and the government the back door. The whole Twitter files thing. Yeah, Facebook went along with that. They were the ones that censored the Hunter Biden laptop story. That laptop story that had a direct result on the 2020 election. The laptop story that being suppressed was the reason why Joe Biden won. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not some kind of like, oh my God, he thinks that there's some kind of Alex Jones magical thing going on. No, literally, people were polled about the details of the Hunter Biden laptop story. If you had known this, would you have voted for Joe Biden? And the difference was like anywhere from like 11 to 16%, which would have been enough to sway people into voting for Trump and or not voting for Biden. So, yeah, that had a direct impact on the election, and that was the Zuck. Because he definitely Zucks. So, yeah, trusting that guy with anything, no, not advised. No, he's a piece of shit. And his... I don't know how else to put it. He's an evil person. Genuinely an evil person.
The experience. I don't know exactly if they have a strong case against Meta here for Threads, so I guess we'll just have to see how that whole soap opera plays out. But honestly, the biggest thing about this announcement that I see nobody talking about for some reason is the fact that Meta maliciously calculated today as their launch day because they knew that I was dropping our Plague Seeker animation. They wanted to take the wind out of our sails knowing that Plague Seeker was going to hog all of the internet's attention for today, so they had to drop Threads in order to take the wind out of our sails, which is foul play from Meta, but I'd expect nothing less from fucking Zuckerbot. So don't let them win. Go watch the Plague Seeker animation. We worked very hard on that. But anyway, I don't want to get too lost in the sauce here at the buffet, so before the steam keeps pouring out of my ears, let's focus on Threads. I have always been extremely vocal about how important competition is, and more now than ever since everything is getting so concentrated on the internet where pretty much all discussions are happening on either Twitter or Reddit and like nowhere else these days. I always think competition is a great thing. But that being said, Twitter sucks shit through a crazy straw, and I am not thrilled about making another Twitter account on something called Threads. I don't need a Twitter 1.5. I already don't like current Twitter, so why would I come around for the sequel here? I don't need too fast to Twitter, so I'm not going to make a Threads account, but I'm glad that it exists, and I hope it does become successful, so that way Twitter doesn't have a stranglehold on brain rot anymore. They can now share the neural load. And maybe, now we're just spitballing utopias. Maybe Threads actually does become a great social media platform somehow, and Twitter can just kind of be like this quarantine zone for, wild, wacky nonsense. It could just be like the fucking loony bin, right? Then I'd make the switch to Threads.
Well, I mean, Fantasyland, but that's not possible. Critical, you realize that Threads is the loony bin. These far left degenerates, these low IQ, bottom feeding, virtue hungry, pedophilic, there's 1,000 different genders, these nut jobs. The reason they're leaving Twitter is because they want their own loony bin. That's literally what they want. They want to be able to ban people that say basic biological facts, realistic things about the world. You say that there's two genders, they want you banned because they're fucking insane. These people are not normal or cool or like that's going to be the cool spot. No, these people are all fucking creeps. Like, Critical, you do know that, like, Ellen DeGeneres is on there saying that Threads is the new gay Twitter. I mean, um, James Corden's going to be there. You can bet your bottom dollar he's going to be one of the first ones there. This is going to be a cesspool of fucking creeps and weirdos that want to all engage in their delusional circle jerk. Twitter, for however bad it is, at this point is now at least somewhat more balanced. It's not perfect, but it's at least more balanced than it was. You can say that there are two genders on Twitter without getting banned. And if you still need me to explain to you why saying there are two genders is not a form of hate speech or some kind of microaggression, then maybe you should go to Threads. Because it does seem like the place that you belong, because you got a few threads loose in your fucking head.
But for now, I don't need another Twitter. So I'm not going to be signing up for it. I'm not exactly, scratching at my neck for more of that experience. But like I said, competition is great. And I do hope Threads can at least threaten Twitter enough so that way both can improve. So that way you're not stuck with constant dog shit changes that make the user experience worse. Most important thing to remember about competition, that it is always the best thing for consumers. You want competition. This isn't me trying to hypnotize you. I'm telling you a fact. You want competition. You don't want one entity to have all of the power.
Yes, that's true. However, in this case, it's not really competition. This isn't competition. This is not a company creating an equal rival product. This is another company attempting to use their already integrated service, Instagram, and trying to create a bootleg Twitter, basically a tumor. Trying to create this thing to grow off of what already exists. And it's inferior in every way in terms of features, the fact that there's no search. There's a lot of shit that's wrong. So this isn't them rolling out their best and saying, this is our version, this is our vision, this is, what we're going to be doing going forward. No. It's an inferior product, it's a copycat, it's a knockoff, and it's not actual competition. It would be like, hey, this new brand came out. What's it called? Oh, it's called Pepsi. And then Pepsi literally just took Coke, poured it into a bottle, and then added a little bit more sugar and said, this is our new product. It's called Pepsi. It's like, you'd be like, no, that's just Coke with a little more sugar. Holy shit. So, yeah, I don't agree with Critical here. I think this is a silly take given how ridiculous Threads is. And it doesn't have all the features, but it will. Why would you? It's like, if it's not okay for video games, and you wouldn't accept it for comic books or movies, or anything else, why the fuck is it okay to release a substandard product right now, instead of waiting until it's finished and blowing people away? Anyway, I said my piece on this, ladies and gentlemen. Threads is a fucking joke. I'm not going to be going forward with it. I tried to sign up. I went through that whole process. It looks just like Twitter. It's very, 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 very similar. But yeah, you have to connect your Instagram account, and if you want to delete them, well, if you want to delete your Threads account, you're gonna have to deactivate your Instagram. Anyway, on that note, I will bid you guys a good day, and I'll see you next time.